An Academy Award, a Golden Globe, a SAG Award, 2 Critics' Choice Awards, and 2 Emmy nominations, Matthew McConaughey. There's so much you can learn from Matthew McConaughey, but first you have to learn who is Matthew McConaughey. Starting at his unstable lower middle class childhood to the start and almost end of his acting career, and then the McConaissance. All of you are soon going to be graduating high school, but then what? College, trade school, or maybe you just don't know. It makes it easier to relax when you know someone as successful as Matthew McConaughey has gone through similar circumstances as you. Ever since 2008, when I watched my first Matthew McConaughey film, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, I have immersed myself in his career and life, both professional and social, trying to figure out who is the man that captivated my attention. Matthew McConaughey grew up in Longview, Texas. His parents were quite the couple. They were married twice, they were divorced twice and married 3 times. While he had a very loving family, they had no problem with physical punishment. And the reasoning was that groundings and timeouts are a waste of time, and time isn't something we have a lot of. All of his childhood, he was taught many values in life, like never respond to a name that isn't yours. So that's why he goes by Matthew and not Matt. Never lie, never say I can't, and never say I hate someone. These are all things that we should probably all follow. While in high school, Matthew had a terrible case of acne, but almost left him with facial scars. His mom kept telling him to use this stuff called oil of mink, but his face kept breaking out. So they went to go see a dermatologist, and he got put on Accutane, and then his father decides to sue the oil of mink company. And then a few years go by, and Matthew has to go testify that the product made him feel depressed and that he hated his life because of it. And then the first piece of evidence they pull up is a picture from his yearbook on how he won most handsome in high school. And then after high school, Matthew wasn't sure what he wanted to do, so he went to Australia to be a foreign exchange student. When he gets there, the foreign family asks him to cook something American. And then he initially says hamburgers, but then he thinks to himself, the guy who invented the hamburger, that's a smart guy. But the guy who invented the cheeseburger, no, he's a genius. The father of the household did not like that very much, and he told him to go to his office with him, and he told Matthew, he said, don't you ever voice your opinion in my house without being asked first. So as you can tell, his time in Australia was pretty hectic. And then when he gets back to America, he wanted to go to Southern Methodist University, but for financial reasons, he ended up going to the University of Texas. And then when he went to the University of Texas, he initially was going to go to law school, but then switch to film school, where he made a deal with the dean that as long as he showed up to all of his exams, he would get all C's for the year. And then in the summer of '92, he gets a call from one of his buddies at a bar saying that you need to come meet this guy. He's a casting director. He runs down to the bar, meets this guy, immediately hits it off. They get thrown out of the bar. He gets in a taxi with the guy, and then that guy is Don Phillips. Don Phillips just so happened to be in town filming a movie called Dazed and Confused. What was supposed to be 3 lines in the movie turned into 3 weeks of filming, and his first line on the big screen, he improvised himself. All right, all right, all right. After some small acting in Texas, he felt it was his time to pack up and head to California. He initially was sleeping on Don Phillips' couch, but then Don tells him that he needs to stop being needy and take a break from acting. So him and 2 of his other buddies from Dazed and Confused go on a motorcycle trip across Europe. When Matthew gets back to Hollywood, he books some minor roles in movies like Angels in the Outfield, but then he gets a script he books a minor role in a movie called A Time to Kill. He plants this idea in the casting director's mind that maybe he could play the main character. And then little did he know, that would be his first blockbuster movie. Then he got some roles in rom-coms. They were good money, but not challenging enough. But the issue is that Matthew McConaughey became the rom-com guy. Later on, he meets his wife, Camilla. And then, after 1 year of nothing but $1 million rom-com scripts that he threw in the trash in a year with no offers at all, Matthew thought his career was over. But then he no longer had a brand, and offers for films like Lincoln Lawyer, Mud, and Magic Mike started coming in. He was finally back in his groove. He filmed the movie, he got a part in the role of Wolf of Wall Street, where he improvised the majority of his lines. Now that he's back in his groove, he wanted to film a movie that would rock the world, Dallas Buyers Club. He was starring as a 4th stage AIDS patient and needed to lose 50 pounds for the film. And he did it, 2 pounds a day for 3 months. A year after the film's release, Matthew gets a nomination for an Oscar. And his performance and all his work for the past 10, 20, 30 years have finally paid off. He got his Oscar. Today I have summarized to you everything publicly known about Matthew McConaughey. We started with his childhood, then leading up to his first acting gig, then almost the end of his career, and then the McConaissance. Now that you know where Matthew McConaughey came from and how he got to where he is now, it makes what he has become more realistic, more obtainable, and it ultimately makes it easier to learn from his mistakes. If there's one thing I hope you picked up on, besides Matthew McConaughey is one of the most humble, knowledgeable, down-to-earth human beings on the planet, is it's fun to fail. No. Actually, it's great to fail. Because if you don't fail, then you don't know how it feels to get back up, and sometimes you just gotta keep living. L-I-V-I-N.